All right. So yes, thank you for coming, Big Sheds. Welcome to Forex Trade. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. To kind of like help our audience understand what's happening with Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin has been like going crazy lately. I mean, not so crazy, right? It has been stuck in consolidation, but yeah, man. I mean, before we get into it, maybe you want to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience. People probably know me most from Twitter. I'm there at Big Cheds. I'm known as a newbie helper. I'm a technical analyst, and I'm doing this for a long time. And kind of in my early stage of my career, I got burned pretty bad. I blew up my account a few times, and part of my process of becoming a better trader was learning how to help other people. And any skill, to learn a skill, you have to be able to teach it to other people. So that's kind of what I've been doing. That's what my Twitter account has helped me do over the years. I eventually published a book called Trading Wisdom. It's on Amazon. It's done really well. I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. I've been doing updates there for 4 years. And I'm also professionally trained. I did the CMT level one, and that helped me out a lot. So I'm pretty active on Twitter. Sometimes I'm on YouTube, and you can catch me on Bitcoin Live. But I really just like to follow the price and give people my kind of academic observations about what's going on, and with a little bit of trading psychology and risk management thrown in.
Yeah, man. Here, folks, we have been following you for a little while already. I mean, like your TA is always on point, right? I mean, you don't get too excited about the market volatility, and you try to always keep an unbiased opinion about what the markets are doing. But yeah, so let's just dive right into it, right? I mean, where the big question is, right? Like, where is Bitcoin going next, Jets? I mean, that's
Yep.
the question that everybody's asking themselves right now, right? I mean, with this
hmm
level of consolidation, like, what can you shed some lights on some of the triggers that may help you anticipate where this stagnation period is going to end?
Yeah. So, we're clearly in a trend right now. We're in a downtrend. If you look at the daily chart, you have the 200 period moving average. That's your trend. We're below that. And it's a down sloping trend line, and we're below it. So we're below the 200 MA. We're clearly in a daily downtrend. Many times I've talked about it. Other people have talked about kind of the price structure of that November top, where we had the higher high, and then we kind
Yeah,
of had the false breakout.
excuse me, Chets. Do you mind sharing your screen so that our audience can see
Sure.
your charts? Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know if we were doing that. I didn't know if we were just doing audio. So, um, there you go. Let me know
excellent.
when you're looking good on your end.
Yeah, it's all looking great.
Okay, can it be seen? Because I don't see it here.
Yeah,
Kind of just
I
from
can
what
see
I'm looking at.
your Bitcoin chart right now in
Okay,
trading view.
brothers.
Yeah.
Very good. So, it's been much talked about. We understand the April, May top, the 80-day rectangle, and the kind of the high, the low, the lower high, the higher low, and the break from that, kind of leading us to that higher high, or 64, 65K, and we had the 69K top. And kind of within that, it's been much discussed. We had the upthrust, we had the false breakout. We had all these different signals that were warning us at that time. The outside bar as well. We talked about how Ethereum had been really strong leading into this topping pattern. And normally you see Bitcoin, when Bitcoin slows down, Ethereum will pop, and then you see other alts taking off. And really this day, November 11th, I tweeted out on Twitter, I said, for those who are new, this is the top because Litecoin is running. You get that evolution of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Litecoin. So, from my perspective, I just follow the price. I don't listen to what people are saying because everyone has an opinion, and everyone, is convinced of one thing or another, but really you just stop and wait for the price and see what it does, right? It either breaks resistance or not, either holds support or not. I mean, that's kind of, what my method is. And that's really why I said last year we would not hit 100K last year, and why I was warning about a top late October and November. We've had the follow through on that breakdown. There was a lot of other stuff that went on at the time. I'm not really going to go into it fully here. We had kind of a failed head and shoulders top, a bull flag that didn't really make its full target, and then really just lost of that. So after the follow through the outside bar, we lost the 60K support, kind of tested it from underneath. In that state, after we've corrected here in the November top, we've been bouncing lower Bollinger to moving average resistance, and people have gotten really excited kind of along the way. And I've preached caution, kind of waiting for confirmation because that was a pretty severe breakdown. We've been watching the daily EMA 34 where the price had rejected. And EMA is an exponential moving average. versus a simple moving average, something like the middle Bollinger, the MA20. And, if we observe, eventually the price after this kind of volatility, volume and volatility bottom, the high wave spinning top January 24th, we started to close above the yellow line. We were able to force a sideways state, and we, really kind of, illustrated the fact that this 45, 46K level was really important. You can see where it was support on this failed double bottom. It bounced, rejected, bounced, rejected, bounced, rejected, and we broke out, right? We had that big breakout here at the end of March, but then it was stopped right at the daily MA200. And what you really want to pay attention to is here on April 5th, April 6th. So essentially, you always want to pay attention to when a level is established and you have a momentum break, but then you fail to hold it, because that's a big momentum signal in the opposite direction. So we had a really, really big warning sign here, right? At that 40, the false breakout. And we've had follow through on that. I mean, we dropped 45K down to 25K. Kind of along the way, we had a base of support right around 38K. Eventually, we lost that. And that dropped slowly and then suddenly into that May 12th bottom. We've been kind of forcing sideways since then without any kind of evidence, real evidence of bulls, doing anything yet. So we're still watching the EMA 34. What's going to happen next? It's more likely than not to continue lower. Trends tend to continue, but there's no 100%. It's probably 70% likely to continue lower. But you want to be ready, even knowing that, you want to be ready to kind of shift gears if you get more evidence. If we can get back up above 32.5, we start to close above the EMA 34, I'd be interested in a trade up to that 38K level, 37.5, 38K level. And then depending on what it does at that point, I would kind of take it from there. We have the MA200 coming. That's definitely resistance. So we're in a downtrend, and you really don't want to try to jump in at every quote unquote bottom. You want to wait for confirmation. And with kind of my method, what I've been teaching my students, and you see on Twitter, is waiting for confirmation and not getting bullish at resistance. A lot of people do that. I saw recently we had that bounce, at the end of May, early June, up over 32K. A lot of people were calling bottom, and I was kind of out of my mind, not understanding how they could be so bullish, given that we have not even broken the EMA 30. You have to remain patient. You have to listen to what the price is telling you. And it looks to be trending lower and is likely to continue lower. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
I can hear you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, did you get that part, what I just did, or what
Yeah,
happened?
yeah. I got absolutely everything. So basically,
Good.
Litecoin told you that it was the Bitcoin top, right? And since then, you have been kind of able to identify this level of support and resistance, right? So you're kind of waiting right now for a sustained break above $32,000, right? Above that 34 MA, in order to kind of target a potential relief rally that is what everybody is talking about, right? And based on what I got, kind of your target is around 35,000, 38,000. Is
No,
that correct?
38. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking for evidence of weakening bear trend. We have a bear trend, and you're always looking for evidence of, you're always watching to see when the trend strengthens or when the trend weakens. The bear trend would strengthen if we tested and broke the 25K low. It would weaken if we closed above the EMA 34. If we get above 32.5. From that 32.5, we have a pretty clear path right up to that 38K level. So that's kind of how I'm looking at things.
Understood. So do you see Bitcoin getting above $40,000 though? Because I feel like if Bitcoin were to move above $40,000, I mean, we'll see crypto Twitter, bullish again. Everybody will be, selling their houses to buy Bitcoin. Which could kind of set the right conditions for a bull trap. Wouldn't you think so?
That a bull trap. What would be the conditions for that again?
A move above $40,000. I think that a lot of
Why
longs
40?
would place. Yeah, 40,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 40 is kind of an arbitrary level at this point. It doesn't hold any technical significance. You can see the price kind of chopped through it here
Yeah, I see that.
for April, and in February, March. It's not really a level anymore of significance. It had been a key support level, the high of January, the low of February, and kind of the top of the rectangle. But that's done. The price doesn't respect it anymore. Just the way the price isn't respecting 30K. It's kind of a meme or an arbitrary level at this point. I would say a bull trap. We've had a lot of bull traps here, bounces to moving averages. A bull
Yeah,
trap would be a break above 32K and then you kind of 32.5 and then, quickly going back below it and kind of trapping people right there. So you want to be aware that the market's going to try to trap you just like it did up here, 45, 46K. A break above 38K and then an immediate rejection at the MA 200 and rolling back over, right? That would be some type of a bear trap. If we can get above here, come back, hold it as support, come back up, break
wow.
through and come back below, that would be a bull trap at that point, right? Breaking
Yeah.
back up above that level and then losing it. So you're kind of always watching out to see what the price does, and you want to pay attention to those momentum pivots and pay attention to when levels are lost and then quickly regained, that type of thing.
I understand. I understand. Yeah, I mean, I can already smell what it will look like, if that
Yeah.
were to happen. But now on the way down, right? I mean, now let's look at the other side of the coin, right? So, that in average, I mean, in the previous bear cycles, actually, Bitcoin tends to drop like 77%, 80%. Whenever
Hmm.
we counted from the top at 69,000, that kind of like give us a potential bearish target of like $14,000.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
how low you see this Bitcoin going? I mean, is that like what could be the capitulation event, or once we lose
Hmm.
that $25,000 level, what
Hmm.
price points are you looking for? Maybe a potential entry, or for kind of like for the bottom to form?
So for a real bottom to form, you need volume and volatility, and you need market participants to give up. You need people to really give up and think Bitcoin's dead. For a real bottom, I think we test 20K. I've talked about the fact that I think we test it and we break it. If we do break 20K, you've got kind of a pocket of support here in this kind of 12 to 14K range. So that's really where
Mhm.
I'm targeting to kind of aggressively add Bitcoin. I will personally start to add below 20K to my kind of my hodl, my hodl portfolio, but I'm not really looking to do a long trade until we test and break 20K. I think a lot of people are targeting that weekly 200 moving average. I think we probably, test it and break it and kind of dip below it to the point where people are really scared. And that's what you need, right? But you want it to happen quickly. Slow bleed is no good. A slow bleed will not change the trend. You need volume and volatility to change a trend. And that's why that's why we've had, the May 12th bottom here, this reaction bottom on the May 12th, volume and volatility that gave you an entry, right? When it broke the May 11th low and it recaptured it, it gave you something to go long on. You need something like that. You need a kind of a sharp overreaction type of move to go long, or you wait for kind of bullish momentum. But, the way the weekly chart is trending, it looks to be headed lower. I think we probably do test the 200. I think we break it. I think we test, 20K, eventually break that, and then really start to panic people. And I would personally be looking for this kind of the bottom of cycle, this kind of, this cycle. That's probably the best way to put it would be somewhere in the 12 to 14K range.
Yeah, yeah, understood. Yeah, that's also what we're targeting here for X Street. But now, right? I mean, the last question for you, Big Sheds. I know you're a busy man and you have other things to do, but exactly, right? I mean, people right now, some people are underwater, right? They have their investments that they didn't sell at the top, right? They couldn't see that Bitcoin top that many other people saw, right? And now they have big bags in altcoins, in Ethereum, in Bitcoin. So
Yeah.
for these people that are underwater right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, do you have any type of advice for them, understanding that
Hmm.
Bitcoin could dip all the way to $14,000?
I think my advice would be that you need to have a plan for every position you have. It's very easy to get, refusing to take a small loss will lead to the opportunity to refuse to take a big loss, right? You need to understand when your trade idea fails and then exit. So, there's people often ask me, what do I do? I'm stuck in a trade. I don't believe in that concept of being stuck in a trade. You're choosing to remain in a failed idea, right? And that's how I think about it. So whatever these people are holding, I think they have to be honest. They have to look at each chart. They have to try to identify what that trend is. And then they have to pick a point where they say, like, my idea has failed. Because just kind of steadily buying in a downtrend is not the way to do it. You want to buy with momentum. You want to wait for the bottom to form and then ride the trend. So, it's tough to, I'm not really in a position to tell people what to do. What I try to do is teach them how to identify a trend and understand when it's strengthening and weakening, and coach them to define their risk. You define your risk by having a stop loss. Stop loss is when your idea fails. The whole reason you entered the trade. When that fails, get out. Don't kind of, move your stop loss down. Just get out and then wait for a better opportunity. And that's kind of how I approach things.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice. So basically, guys, we're providing here at Forex Suite also like a lot of learning tools as well as big chats. I mean, I guess you guys can find big chats at big chats in Twitter. Is that right,
Yep,
chats?
that's it, brother. That's it.
Exactly. So yeah, Big Sheds will be sharing his knowledge on his crypto Twitter account. I mean, thank you very much for coming here and telling our audience basically a little bit of where you see Bitcoin going on and that potential capitulation towards $14,000, $11,000. I mean, I think that will be a great opportunity to basically jump back in the markets for a potential, bull run in the next let's call it 3 years, right? I mean, let's put that
Yep.
in the back burner, right? But thank you very much for your time, Big Sheds. It's a pleasure to have you here, and yeah, thank you. I don't know if you have any concluding thoughts or maybe where people can find you in social media.
Yeah, just find me on Twitter. I'm at Big Cheds. I'm on YouTube at Cheds Trading. I thank you for the opportunity. I do have a book on Amazon, Trading Wisdom, but there's a free version of that book on my YouTube at Cheds Trading. So I would just tell people to check that out and just risk less. Whatever you're doing, have a smaller position size that will allow you the time to make mistakes and gain the experience you need to be profitable.
That's right. You heard it here in Forex Suite with Big Cheds. Thank you very much, man. You have a great day, all right?
All right, take care, brother.